Hello everybody and welcome to the opening round in a new season of the League Zero Super Formula Championship here from Interlagos, normally a place where we end these seasons around the world, but not here in the League Zero Championship. It's the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil, sponsored by Anthony Zeitch. Thank you to him and everyone who's got on board for this new season of 20 drivers who are ready to go racing again. Broadcast, of course, all the races here on JPV all the way to the start of December. Myself, Ewan and Dean Biggles will be with you. It's good to be back, Dean. I mean, it's been great to come along for last season and now joining this one as well. We've even got a couple of races this season. They're actually just one event of 35 laps at Imola and 34 at Suzuka. But tonight we've gone back to the two-race format once again. And I thoroughly enjoyed last season, hoping that this one lives up to the same billing.
Looking forward to this, of course, yes. One of my favourite tracks here in Brazil. And as you can see there, the 10:30 format that we're going to have here tonight for the Grand Prix of the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil. We have Andreas Nassi out there tonight that said, Vamos, Gonzalo, Perez, to win. That is, I had to do the translation for that one then, Jacob. So, and there's a little bit of other Spanish going in there. Well, I want to get a chance to have a look at that. Thank you very much for chiming in and supporting the drivers, as we do have a couple of Argentines actually on the grid here this evening as well too. A couple of Mexicanos, a couple of people from the United States of America, Australia, Canada, and your neck of the woods, United Kingdom.
Absolutely, yeah, it's good to see such a variety of nationalities in this field, because it just has that little bit of variety to it all. Not sure how Sergio Zuhair is indeed in Sri Lanka at the moment. I don't know, but that's very early in the morning. Is it? Oh, maybe 6 o'clock, half 6, 7 o'clock. So maybe not too bad. Maybe it's just an early wake-up call on a Friday morning. But anyway, last season, Adam Merchant took the title, as we know, and unfortunately we didn't see our top drivers actually in the final race at Monza, unfortunately. But Merchant won by 67 points ahead of Jaden Callaway. Unfortunately, Merchant hasn't returned yet. Hopefully he'll be back later on this season. Same for Noddy ML, actually. But we have got Jaden Callaway here, and he's taken pole for the first race of the season. So let's have a look at the starting grid for the very first time. It's Jaden Callaway who is on the pole, ahead of Gonzalo Perez, with Finlay Fitzsimmons and Elliot Court on an all-British row 2. Max Shabley and Elliot Rolls will be on row 3, ahead of Fabian Sanchez and Nancy Bianchi. James Turnbull and Sergio Zuhair round out the top 10 with the first All-American row, Chase Meyer and Robert Noble's row 6. Nicholas Isidro and Gareth McAllister are next, ahead of Guillermo Parry and Austin Thomas. John Stumbrack, Carlos Berlingas, Arturo Mayorga and Ricardo Espino round out the 20 cars in the field. There they are, all towards the back end. So, 20 to start off with. It's good to have the field to begin with. And, hopefully it's going to be a good race as well. But, Gonzalo Perez, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we saw him last season. And, new driver on the grid in that case, which is great news.
Yeah, it will be, of course. He's got a fan club out there on top of it. So let's see how we can do it. And let's see how it's going to pan out, of course, to some of the familiar names that we have. In one of my favourite tracks, I think it's also one of James's favourite tracks as well. And basically, too, because the fact that I like about this track, my friend, is that you can almost go too wide throughout the whole track. So not many tracks on a racing calendar you can do that on.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a very good start to the season, that's for sure. Very much looking forward to getting it underway as the time ticks away in this gridding process now. Sergio Zuhair and Ricardo Espino, the last drivers to get on the grid. Now Espino has, and we're just waiting for Zuhair to get onto the grid. And then we'll be underway this season. There he goes, pops onto the grid, and we are ready to go. The first race in the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil. 10 laps here from Interlagos to begin with. The lights on and the lights are out very quickly, indeed, on a new season. A little bit of wheel spin, indeed, off at the start as well as they dive in towards turn number 1. Bit of defending going on the inside line. A big dive down the inside from Finlay Fitzsimmons. That is a good overtake as he gets in front of the likes of Perez, who is now struggling even to keep third. There goes Elliot Court. Past him into third, maybe. Here comes Shabley as well. They're all going to fight for this one on the way down the hill in towards turn 4. Here they go into the left-hander. Oh dear, that's late on the brakes, and there's contact between the teammates. Oh dear, and a very strange crash there for Perez as he was hit there by his teammate Max Shabley. He's gone back to the pit lane. Our first incident of the season, and it comes already on that braking zone down in towards turn 4. Dear oh dear, that was not an ideal start for those two.
Absolutely not, but that's what you're going to get a little bit of Brazil action. As I said, too wide. You can do it most of the track as they're going to make their way up the top of the hill here for the first time this evening. And that won't be the last time, of course, because we'll have another race after this. And a second opportunity. There's a turn there. So Blanchie goes around, my friend. There's the Canadian off into the gravel, facing in the opposite direction. Luckily, just off enough for anybody to continue to lose the whole front end of that car.
And Turnbull as well got turned around there, by the way. So we'll, in a moment, have a look at some of those incidents. But it's pretty lively off the start here. Sanchez still in behind Shapley, who must have damage after that bit of contact, but can't do anything about it. Look at that front right wheel. It's a lot more exposed than it should be. And through goes Sanchez on the outside line. Will be nicely through in. Oh, well, Shapley's putting up a good fight. Oh, close side by side through this NRS. But, you know, it's, it's always going to be difficult when you're missing some of that front end. And there you go, missing some straight line speed, actually, by the looks of it as well. Sanchez roars on past, and he's actually on the push to pass as well, as the flashing light goes vigorously above his head for the first time this season as well.
And there we go. So there's a lot of action, of course, already on this way. Callaway in the lead there, but Fitzsimmons is starting to chase him down a little bit. And then there's about a 2-second gap as your movers and shakers as well on your timing tower. We'll switch it back over to the intervals so that you can have a little bit of an idea what is happening on. Further back, Sajay putting some pressures there on Nicholas. Don't turn him, my friend. Nicholas is in the Benetton-coloured Esque livery just up the road.
Well, absolutely. It is it's a close battle at the moment in these top positions with these guys as they come up towards the final corner before that run to the line. Zuhair, a little bit of a bobble over the curves there is not going to help him particularly. Trying to get past Nicholas Isidro here. Gareth McAllister's gone off meantime. That can't quite decide what it wants to do there with his front left tyre.
No, it's gone. It's snapped off, but the tether's keeping it in, luckily, so that's a long way to drive back the pit road too if he's gone off the track somewhere around third sector.
Yes. It's a long way back indeed. And of course, this series does not provide you with a fast repair, so you've got to do it the old-fashioned way. Or at least it did last season. I don't think the rule book has changed, but I probably should check. But yes, we saw a lot last season, especially in the feature race. Unfortunate early retirements when drivers had various bits of contact around the circuit, and of course it is bound to happen in these races. But these Super Formulas race so well, and even the damage at the moment is not holding Shapley back too much. You get the feeling, though, he could well be caught by these guys if they get organised. Isidro, though, is more focused on what's going on behind him at the moment.
6 positions gamed up, too, for the Benetton-esque livery there, the number 42 of Nicholas. And he's trying to maintain that 6 positions gain in this race, but of course he's going to be under a bit of pressure at the moment. Looks like a bit of push to pass is being used currently at the moment. There it is, OT is on. The banking elevation out of the final couple of corners here in Brazil. Sensation of speed. You're going to be hugging the inside apron where your pit lane entrance is, but will it be enough? The outside line may very well go to Sajay if he can make it stick on the inside through the centre S's. This is always tricky. You think you're ahead, but then you're not, you see. And then they'll do a nice little sprint down the Retro Apostle.
It's a nice straight towards turn number 4 here for the overtakes, but look at the flashing light there. Shapley just keeps it on for a little. Zuhair keeps it on for a little bit longer and stays in front. Shapley still, a couple of seconds in front. Here's Nobles versus Meyer for 9th place. Robert Nobles on the outside line here, and Chase Meyer with the inside is always going to prevail through Ferradura. It's a very long uphill right-hander through there, and so you're unlikely to find your way around the outside. If we do see one of those overtakes tonight, it's going to be a very, very spectacular one indeed, but it's going to be very, very difficult to achieve indeed as well.
There's also that's the beginner's plateau, the duck or something like that. It's like a duck's corner. It's because it's shaped like that, and it's also where the rookies tend to go off a lot the first time they drive around this track. But depending on some of the rookies that we have this season, whether or not they're not rookies, of course, probably to iRacing or to Super Formulas, but they are rookies to the season, and so far nobody's made any of the rookie mistakes up the hill here in Brazil. As here we go, Sajay gonna hold in front of here, and Nicholas gonna look to attack back at the moment. Jaden Callaway still in the lead, just at the fastest lap in the last lap, 1:16.43.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, fastest lap points available in this series as well. At the moment, that will go the way of Callaway, who is dominating here. Side by side in the background, Stumbra and Nobles. So after trying to overtake Jace Meyer, Robert Nobles has gone backwards now and he's outside the top 10. Stumbra is now ahead. Guillaume Paré is next in line as well. And Nobles has got to stop this now. He's got to stop the relentless nature of these overtakes in these next couple of moments, because this could get a little bit out of hand for Robert Nobles if he's not too careful. He will stop the rot at 11th for the moment, and there's the way to counteract it, go on the attack immediately, although he's lost a bit more momentum there. Here comes Paré, but he's backing away through the middle sector, doesn't really want any part of this.
He's defensive at the moment too, Robert. It's kind of all over the place on the track, as you said, probably noticing a little bit of damage. It's going to be very interesting. As you're going to get a good exit here, you have to at Junco, because you've got this long ride up at turn 1 all the way up the hill at the back stretch, top stretch, whatever you want to call it here in Brazil. It's a little bit too far to back to be the overtaking here, but will Robert send one down the inside through the centre S's? He may be too far back. Push to pass being used by both the drivers.
Absolutely. It's such a key factor in these races, isn't it? The push to pass, and they really burned through it in this first race. Have to be a little bit more careful with it in race number 2, and it feels a little bit more like a system that really works in race number 2, to be honest, when they have to just modulate it a little bit, work out the level of push to pass they're going to use. But in race 1, rather, it's about timing that cool down period, especially on a short circuit like this. We've commented before on this, but you know, the lap time's 1 minute 16 at best round here, and Callaway went fastest again that last time round, by the way. You've got to be wary of the cool down period, because when you take the button off, you have to wait more than a lap to put it back on again. So if you're going to use it from Junxiao right the way round to maybe Raposta to Interlagos, that's a long way round, and therefore you can't use it again for effectively 2 laps, which makes it all very difficult.
Battle of the Mexicanos as well too. Carlos Ballestinas, there, and Ricardo Espino. Oh, as Elliott Court sets the fastest lap. That's the battle of the Brits up there for the P2 position. Of course, you've got Fitzsimmons, Court, and Rolls. 2 of the Elliots, not a law firm between those 2 drivers. Wondering at the push to pass, this could be an overtake here. Look at the power, look at the horsepower you have. Well, let's say kilowatts in modern technology. But you got to make it stick here. Just got to love the centre S's. Of course, that'd be a great spot to sit there if you're going to watch the real Formula 1 race at Brazil. That's bring your poncho as well too, because there's a good chance you're going to have that afternoon downpour shower that you have here in Brazil. Yeah,
I'm not sure we've forecast any of that today, which we've gotten away with rather, but I'm not entirely sure actually. In terms of that, we'll wait and see whether the rain falls. It doesn't look like it will do at the moment. Only Gareth McAllister and Gonzalo Perez are down on pit lane, by the way, with their meatball flags. It doesn't look like they'll be reappearing, and in any case they won't be scoring any points anyway with the position down there. The point system in this series pretty punishing, and it means that you can't quite you can't afford to finish that far down and expect to get a result, unfortunately, as Paré gets on the button again. How many seconds he got there? Just over 3 minutes.
I know.
So goodness me, how's he going to deal with this now?
I'm just
4
wondering.
laps. Sorry, 3 laps to go.
What are they waiting for? Are they forgetting you can use it? I mean,
well,
you don't carry it on through the next race as well, so burn it. Especially because, you want to get an overtake done. At the moment, he's got 2 places he could potentially grab here in the dying stages of this race. He can look at getting to Robert, and he's got to get past John Stumbas. That's up the road as well.
Yeah. It is puzzling. I must admit, I would like to see a scaled push to pass, scaled to the length of the race. Because, as I say, we spoke about this disparity before. I guess that's not how it works in real life, is it? And so that wouldn't make sense. But you get the point. For these short races, you really do feel like you're on it a lot. And he's going to put it on again at the end of this cool-down period, which I presume he's using right now. Or is he on the button still now? No, he is on the cool-down period. So he's going to go on the button one last time, and that'll be it for the rest of the race then. But, you might even end this race with some seconds remaining. And as you say, there's no point in that, really, because you don't carry it over into the next race or anything like that. Although I think that would be kind of cool, actually, to see it carried over. But anyway, that's not going to happen anytime soon either, because that's supremely unrealistic as well. But it's very interesting, and I always find these shorter circuits especially way more interesting than the longer ones in terms of actually the management of those systems, because it is something such to think about in this first race as well as the second one.
Well, yeah, it's unrealistic, but then again, so is pressing an escape button and magically towing back to pit lane too. So I
Well,
mean, there's a certain limit of realism and non-realism, of course, in the esports world. And of course, the fact that you don't need to go to a medical centre if you get into each other.
Well, that is true as well, but that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that we don't have to do. So there are advantages and drawbacks certainly to the non-realism. Into Ferradura again for these battles. Nobles has got his top 10 back again. So there he is, 10th again, ahead of Stumbra, Isidro and Jace Meyer. The other close battle, but the top 8 or so, certainly the top 5, are pretty spaced out, and it's pretty clear that Jaden Callaway is the fastest man in this field, and he leads by over a second at the moment. He actually sees the white flag. That's how far he is ahead of these guys. He's seeing the white flag already, and he gets another fastest lap to his name, a 15.8 this time.
he's just wanting to get that. Let's have a quick look. There's a contact that happened in turn 1.
Perez.
Sure, so Perez, here it is here. So one of the crowd favourites, unfortunately, not even getting a couple of turns into this one, and then bang, gets contact. And it obviously looks like teammates with deliveries too. But we will have to go back to
they might well be teammates.
And it looks like Fitzsimmons has come off somewhere as well. So is he? No, he's back on track. It's just something that's indicating to us that he had a crash. But the American driver here, I was going to say, I wonder if he's going to be a fan favourite of Colton Herter if he gets into Formula 1 in the future. That's the plan, isn't it? He's going to use his push to pass now. Maybe setting another fastest lap here for Callaway.
Yeah, if he's just going to drain it towards the end here, he may have gone a little bit early. Well, no, probably not actually, with the amount of time remaining in this lap. And he just squirms a little bit on the way into the final turn, but there he goes again. It's through the middle sector. You do have to really modulate the throttle with the push to pass, but I reckon he will go faster again here. It's a race of domination from Jaden Callaway, who's been so strong historically in this championship. He wins again, this time in race 1 of the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil here from Interlagos. He doesn't actually set a better lap that time round. Very interesting. 15.8 will remain the best. Nobody will beat that. There's your top 5 going across the line there as well. Sanchez completing that. And the battles that we were watching early on just spread out on the 10th lap there. So just towards the end of this race, they come apart. Further down, Espino, Balinas and Turnbull are the only ones close. Turnbull and Balinas are very close together. It looks like Turnbull's going to go through. There he goes, up into 16th position. Ahead of Balinas, he's going to get into the slipstream of Espino, and he gets up into 16th place. So a close finish between those guys, but the front guys, I've got to say, had spread themselves out by the race finish there.
And real quickly, we go back to the replays while we have a short period of time. Here's what happened to our Canadian driver. Contact there. Gets turned, just a little bit of a tap in the background, backs it off there, faces the other way, has no front end wing at this point with the right camera angles. There's also another contact there that looks like it might have been Turnbull.
It was, yeah, Turnbull.
Yeah.
So he just went wide, I think Turnbull trying to avoid, and iRacing's not going to let us.
No.
But he just went a little bit wide through the grass and the curb and went off into a spin himself. So there we go. Let's have a look at the race results then, shall we? In the first race of the new season here from the League Zero Super Formula Series. It is Jaden Callaway who wins by 3.5 seconds, then of Elliot Cutt. Finley Fitzsimmons rounding out the top 3. Elliot Rolls and Fabian Sanchez rounding out the top 5. Max Shabley holds on to 6th despite the damage that was made with contact with Perez, I'm pretty sure. Sergio Zuhair couldn't get past him, and Nicholas Isdro had his own defending to do. He finishes ahead of Jace Meyer and Robert Nobles, rounding out the top 10. John Stumbra finishes 11th ahead of Guillermo Parry. Arturo Mayorga 13th ahead of Austin Thomas. Espino beat Turnbull and Balinas to the line, with Antonio Bianchi the only other driver to finish on the lead lap after that spin. And getting their meatball flags was Gareth McAllister and Gonzalo Perez. They'll both have to start from the back, and especially for Perez, I feel, he was pretty unlucky, first of all, in that first race. To be taken out by your teammate in those circumstances, that when it really wasn't your fault at all, is, first of all, I'd say, very unlucky in itself. Second of all, I think, he's going to be one to watch in race number 2, because he is going to be flying through this field, surely.
Get taken out by your teammate, that's what Oscar must feel like the other day, but thankfully didn't get taken out by his British teammate a couple of races ago and got into him for a... Anyway, Formula One's a whole different ball game. There is your track. There's your medical centre helicopter as well too, in case you do require it, but thankfully there isn't. I like how iRacing can put that in there as well too. Some of the are in a 5-minute cool down just to go over once again the schedule this year, this season per se, for season 14, I believe it is. I'm just looking at one track that should be in there. Oh, there it is, and it is in there. I was about to say, we got 2 Mexicans on the grid. We should be going to the new Mexican track that's been added to iRacing, and we do on October the 9th. Autodromo Hermanas Rodriguez, my friend. I was about to say, have you even been there yet in the iRacing world?
I have not been there yet, in real life nor the iRacing world. So, yes, I'm looking forward to that, actually. Shortest sprint race at that time. It will be overtaken by Spa, obviously, which is a very long track. But yeah, it will be the shortest. I wonder why it's in red. Is that just because it's a new circuit?
I think it's because it's new, yes. That would make perfect sense.
I guess so. All of the others have been here for donkey's years in iRacing, so it would make sense to have that. Of course, we have I hope we get a championship finale as well, by the way, at Watkins Glen, because we have a week off to build up to it as well. That's for US Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thursday is quite a... Well, I don't actually know anything about US Thanksgiving, really, other than the fact there's 3 American football matches on Thursday, so I presume it's quite an important day in the US Thanksgiving celebration.
Traveling and stuff like that. It's a long weekend, people... I mean, it's busiest travel day, I think, of the year in the United States. A lot of people go visit family and things like that, so they don't expect drivers to be in their racing rigs.
Racing on the plane or whatever.
Not even Max Verstappen has a racing rig on his private jet, surprisingly enough.
Well, yeah. I don't know if anybody here has a private jet, though, in fairness, which would be quite outrageous. But there you go. As I mentioned again, we've got a couple of races this season which will have just the one race. You'll notice they've got the most laps by some distance, so they'll be only slightly longer than our feature races, really, in this championship. There'll be slightly shorter evenings on those one race evenings, but I presume there'll be something done for the points in those races as well. Of course, we've already pointed out the Mexican Grand Prix circuit, which is going to be one to absolutely watch here as well. Should just go through, actually, with a minute to go here in warm-up, some of the names who are actually here for this new season, because, it might be easy to say, well, Adam Merchant, reigning champion's not here, then who really is? And Noddy ML isn't in the top 3 either. Well, thankfully, there's your list of results. Most of the other top 10 drivers, or at least top 8 or so drivers, are here from last season's championship standings. So the best placed of them tonight, Jaden Callaway, who just won there. Elliott Cook finished 4th last season. He's there as well, as you can see. Fabian Sanchez as well. Is he here? Yeah, he is there, top 5. As well for Finley Fitzsimmons, who was on the podium there. Zuhair is here as well. Bianchi obviously got that top 10 at the end of the season as well. So, we've got well over half of the top 10 here from last season back again at this first round. It's worth remembering, this is only the first round and there's still more yet to come. Hopefully the others will appear back again, because we do know that Adam Merchant, for example, only made 18 starts of a possible 22 last season. Noddy ML only made 16, so they both missed multiple rounds last season is all I'm trying to say, and so there's no reason why they won't be here next week or the weeks to come as well.
Yeah, hopefully they'll let us know in the chat if they are going to be making, if they're around at the moment. And we don't see Anthony as well too, and of course he's the race sponsor that we'd mentioned earlier there on the schedule too. See, because it was brought to you by Anthony for the Meatball Flags design Grand Prix. Is it Grands Prix? Grands Prix of Brazil? Some people pronounce it correctly. Some people say it's Grands Prix. I
think it's just Grand, like singular. Even if you're trying to say multiple, I think you say the same thing. One of those weird words.
Sometimes I hear in some podcasts and things like that when they officially do it. But we have a grid, of course, again for our feature race tonight.
Yeah, I'll just run through those who've been reversed, and of course that's the top 5. Let the rest scroll through on your screen. Fabian Sanchez will take the pole ahead of Elliott Rolls. Next 3 Britons, in fact. Rolls, Fitzsimmons and Elliott Cook, and then Jaden Callaway, who won that first race, will line up in 5th. All of them will line up behind that in exactly the places they finished the previous race in race number 1. So second race to come, it will be 30 laps. So those first 10 laps flew by. These next 30 laps are going to be much more of a considered race. You have to manage your push to pass a little bit, manage your tyres a little bit. We should still be seeing pit stops as well over the course of a feature race. It's going to be not for fuel, but indeed for tyres. Ricardo Espino does not get onto the grid, but everybody else does in this shortened gridding procedure. The lights are on for the second race in the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil, and we're underway again. Sanchez with a decent launch, and it's the two Britons who are side by side for second, with Callaway immediately challenging those in behind with fourth place, not quite. He's actually gone backwards. Max Shabley gets in front of him. Through the first section of corners they go. It's side by side again, actually, for Callaway. Off the circuit goes Nicholas Isidro, who comes back on again with vengeance, and that's Callaway continuing to be in trouble here as they come down in towards turn 4. He escaped the field though. Here they come. It's Shabley who goes backwards really in towards turn 4, but they all get away with it. Only Thomas and Bianchi with Meatballs there already back to pit lane on lap 1.
Elliot Court almost losing control of it at the moment. A lot of those drivers immediately using that push to pass as well too, to try to give them a little bit of a boost and jump off the line. Callaway in that P5 position. I think we might have a couple of drivers that have gone around. It does. Somebody has gone around in the McLaren Golf livery into the kitty litter. So far, we'll go back up to the action, of course, up at the sharp end of the shed. The field. Complete lap 1 coming up soon.
Here they come to the end of lap number 1. Sanchez out of Zhunshao for the first time, and now he's on the button. There he goes. Doesn't want to lose this lead early, and Fitzsimmons will want to take that from him early as well, but I don't think he's on the button just at the moment. No, he's not, and actually he's on a cool down there, so he can't use it. Oh, here come the battle for third place. Rolls and Court side by side, the two British drivers in towards turn number 1 into the centre S. He's got a better line on the exit here as Court for a better run through turn 3 and a better run towards the braking zone. My goodness, that was a big slide for Rolls. A big snap of oversteer there, where he just went to the outside, and inside line goes Court. He goes through into third place, while there was a change for the lead as well. Finley Fitzsimmons gets in front of Sanchez. He just bided his time a little bit, and he waited for his moment to strike, and he has struck in towards turn number 4. As Callaway's off. Race 1 winner. There was contact there, and Callaway goes a bit wide through Ferradura.
And also Sajay here, and then Nicholas also battling it out further back here. And 6th and 7th position gained by both of these drivers. Action absolutely everywhere in the mid-pack. That's what you expect here at Brazil. As you said too, so Fitzsimmons got the lead of this race now. And this is a midfield. We have Nicholas, you have Max, you have Robert, and Jace Meyer as well too. A little bit of a flashing, blinking connection there issue, but so far so good.
Unfortunately, Arturo Mayorga is also here in the pit lane, I should say. He's not here in this battle. I mean, he's in the pit lane. Not got a meatball actually, but he is going to go a lap down right now as Fitzsimmons sets the fastest lap. They all come over the line again. Here comes Shabley trying to regain these places again, and it's going to feel like a very similar situation to last race, I must say. Already down 2, looking to make up 1, but can't do it there on Nicholas Isidro, who keeps that 7th place for now. Robert Noble's in the background, will get in the momentum as well as they come down in towards turn number 4. He's not going to be close enough, I don't think, Nobles, to make a move this time. He's still hanging around that top 10 position at the moment, but again, it's the midfield who are providing the entertainment just like before.
Yeah, and also up the front. Oh, it looks like Sanchez was getting pretty close there to Fitzsimmons once again. So the top 3, there they are. They've broken away with a little bit of a gap to Elliot Rolls further back. And then, of course, a couple of drivers. And then back to this battle here. That's probably one of the closest, I reckon, you're going to be seeing possibly, apart from blinking, if you can see, a little bit of overtaking here of Nicholas leading this chain.
Yeah, it really is a long train, effectively starting from him in 7th. So he looks behind and sees all those behind just in one long line in behind him at the moment, out through the right-hander. Left-hander, sorry, that brings them to the start-finish line. Shabley's on the push to pass, and Isidro can't match that. It's such a long front straight here that, you know, it does reward you using the push to pass when the other driver isn't, but Isidro wasn't on a cool down there. He's just saving it for later. Meanwhile, Jaden Callaway's into pit lane. Now, this is a very, very early stop after just 3 laps, and I don't think it's related to damage. I think this is a strategic call, which is putting him down the field. It's a bold call, but we'll see if it works out for him. There he goes. He comes out the pit lane after 11 seconds. That is about right, as Elliot Cook goes to the outside, right round the outside of the pole sitter Sanchez, and Elliot Cook moves up into 2nd.
Brilliant move. You don't see many overtaking really around that situation, so he got the job done. Yeah, we've seen this before, but haven't we? In the past, from Callaway to just jump in there and take those early pit stops. He wants to get kind of out of any possible shenanigans, get himself some clear air, and then just get on with it. Put banker laps in after banker laps, and then sort itself out after that round of pit stops for the rest of the drivers.
Absolutely, everybody will make a stop, but no refueling in this series. And there's a bit of a joke in one of the race names a bit later on in this season to account for that. So look out for that in a couple of weeks' time. Here's Gareth McAllister on the back of Ballymutt, and surely he's going to be going through here into 12th place. He's looking, he's tight on the inside there, and that was a tightening angle there as he comes through. Inside line, and Gareth McAllister's going to go straight through here. He is coming from the back, don't forget. He is making his way through from the back of this field and up into 12th place. So very nicely done from Gareth McAllister. But, he's got a lot of work to do in this race. It's always a disadvantage starting as far back as he had with that meatball flag in race number 1.
Of course, now he's got clear air. You can see what sort of times that he can do, because he was doing last laps of 1 minute 19, whereas the drivers up the road from him are on the 17s generally, and then 16s for Fitzsimmons. Slow down for Elliot Rolls. He's got a 2-second gap currently at the moment to Sajay, so it should be okay. That little yellow flag that'll appear if you are tuning in this season, that is an indication that you've gone a little bit too far off the track excursions. Therefore, you'll be forced to be slowed down. Whoa. Up the top of the hill there. That's Perez, my friend, on Robert Noble's just up the road.
Absolutely. Another midfield battle. Seen so many of them so far tonight, and they're showing absolutely no signs of going away. Here comes Perez on the run up the hill here in the slipstream of Robert Noble. Surely he's going to get a chance in towards turn 1 now as he gets into the slipstream. He's not on the button, but this is the advantage of slipstream even without the push to pass. There he goes, tentatively, admittedly, on the brakes on the inside and through. There he goes, through into 8th position on Robert Nobles. That was a very nice overtake indeed. By Perez, who slides a little bit and gets that 8th place considerably. In fact, he's on a cool-down period, so he's been probing, and now, weird thing is that now he's not got the push to pass even available. He's made the pass.
Nicholas is up the road there, so we've got the Vamos out there. Absolutely, so definitely we'd have to say that Pio Perez, my friend, has the fan club here this evening tuning in. So if they were sitting in those grandstands here in Brazil, you'd hear them cheering on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very close to that part of the world. Argentinians, well, I know one Argentinian who sort of considers that almost home race as he dives down the inside. Oh dear, that was almost too late from Perez. He's clearly got the speed, and he's trying to utilise it all at once here. Diving down the inside almost, well, not quite recklessly, but it was aggressively on Nicholas Isidro, who actually did the smart thing, just hang back for a moment, do a cutback and come back straight back through again. That was smartly done, and he gets that place back again.
He's going to use the overtake as well too. Has to defend against Robert behind him, as well as attacking Nicholas up there, but Nicholas is also using it as well. So, whoa, there we go. Last of the late break is in the centre. This is contact.
Oh! Spectacular for Isidro. Off the ground, and he's spinning around in the grass now as he tries to get himself back going again. This is painful now to try and get back going again. The turning circle and the lack of grip on the grass. Oh dear. He drops to 13th, Nicholas Isidro. That is a real shame for him. He's last but one of those who haven't stopped so far in this race. And, well, that is a big shame. It seems to be just one of those things in open wheelers. If you make wheel-to-wheel contact like that, you can have some spectacular offs.
You're going to wonder how much damage is actually suffered at the moment on Perez's car. Seems to be okay. There's a lone pine tree that's up on the hill. But further up, you got Max putting a bit of pressure currently at the moment on Sajay for the Arrive and Drive Racing entrance. That's the battle currently at the moment for 5th and 6th in our feature race.
Yeah, it's Chablis, though, who's in the ascendancy because he actually went backwards off the start, although he's exactly where he started this race and indeed finished the last one. He's actually been making overtakes even to get to this point, although maybe that is the reason why. You can see the push to pass seconds left there, dipping well below 2 minutes now. Outside for Chablis. Very late on the brakes, too late, off! Oh, in the centre S, and thankfully doesn't spin off to the inside. That could have been dangerous as he was trying his very best to get that slowed down and turned in time. He couldn't quite, he just about, so he didn't spin, but yeah, that was quite close. Here's Jaden Callaway, still one of those drivers who stopped. He's now having to work his way through drivers who haven't stopped. And this is the problem with that early stop strategy, not least the tyres that he's going to have later on, which are going to be very, very worn out.
He almost was almost a carbon copy of what we saw before, isn't it? Going too deep into the centre S's. and he just manages to slow it down in time. It's lucky that he had a little bit of that breathing space, didn't he, over the number 70 machine that he just got the overtake on. But he is at our, let's say, our net lead when it comes to actual pit stops, but we don't know. He's currently he's running, well, give or take about 31 seconds from our race lead, of course, but he's done his pit stop.
Yeah. It's such an early stop and an unusual strategy as well that I must admit I'm not sure it's going to work, but I'll reserve judgment until later, but there's my prediction. Here comes Chablis in the slipstream. No push to pass available this time, but it might not matter as Zuhair goes to the inside to defend in that cool-down period, of course, as is Zuhair actually, in towards turn one. Oh, that was tight as he tried to make the cutback. He very nearly hit the driver in front of him, but they get away with it again. Zuhair gets into 5th position. Chablis into the slipstream, up another gear. Now then, will he be able to get through into 4? This is where he made contact with Perez in race 1, don't forget. On the inside line, is there going to be more contact? Oh, there might have been. There might have been, because Zuhair goes off, and ironically, it's Perez who gains 2 places out of it.
Yeah, there's Perez at the moment. Look at that. Whoa, gets around there. It's actually Maxi that goes a little too wide. So Perez, with the fan club, up currently at the moment 15 places. Did you read that correctly out there? 15.
15.
That's uno, cinco together. I don't know how to say 15 in Spanish anymore. You'd think I'd know, but there it is. Carlos. Oh, McAllister.
Oh,
unfortunately, the Australian driver, he should be used to these kind of climates over here, down here in Brazil, of course. But as the Inca Salsa Chips number 25 machine goes off, he was up 5 positions too. He's going to do that hard work all over again.
Yeah, it is still pretty warm out there, by the way. 44.5 degrees as Zuhair comes into the pit lane as well on 1/3 distance. It's sort of the middle third of the race you expect to see stops, so this is not totally out of the ordinary, but it is a bit early again. And clearly they're not particularly worried about their tyre life a little bit later on. We'll see whether anybody ends up visiting pit lane more than once, but these have been some early stops so far. You'd imagine Fitzsimmons will continue to control this race from out front. Doing a good job of that at the moment, ahead of Elliott Court. With 20 laps to go when they get to the line. This race is far, far from over between these two, because they're just over a second apart. And Finley Fitzsimmons at the moment is doing a good job of holding him off. Here are the teammates meantime. Perez and Chablis, but you'd imagine Perez is going to be on the march again. He is seriously fast around here, but he's not had things go his way tonight.
No, but now he's got a bit of clean air. I was just interested to see what lap time. His last lap was a 1:17.8. His best is a 16.49, so he's got the speed. The fastest lap from our race leaders up there have been 16s, but the thing is, it's more consistency, because Fitzsimmons had clean air, so he's had really nothing to worry about to hinder him from consistently doing those 16. Elliott Court as well too has been doing those 16, mid-16s really, as Sanchez and Elliott Rolls also started to do it. But there it is. How's that, my friend? So clean air equals Pio Perez, fastest lap.
Yep, nicely done. And don't forget, this is when everybody's still managing their push to pass, so the likelihood of it being the fastest lap later I think is quite slim, but it is very telling for where we are at the moment in this race. Here we go into turn 1 again. Side by side for Callaway, a little look down the inside, but he couldn't do it on that occasion, and he's going to get the run instead. What a great run it is as well on Nicholas Isdro. Onto the straight, side by side, inside line, in time for turn 4, and that is Jaden Callaway up another place. But again, it's just a drawback of this strategy, it really is. Every time he gets up behind someone like this and has to overtake them, he loses time, and it's almost impossible to get away from that.
Exactly, and on top of that, well, yeah, he did do a 16.78 on the previous lap. The other drivers around him, driver of Nicholas, who just got past at 17, almost at 18, 1 minute 18. Now Carlos Balinas up the road there, his last lap was 18.77, so you can imagine 2 seconds a lap quicker. Callaway should be on the back very soon of the Mexican. In fact, he will be. There's the Mexican up there right now, so there's to show you what 2 seconds a lap difference looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we had somebody off the
good
track
to get a visual
there. Sorry, we looked like there it is. There's the other Mexican.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but let's get back to the Mexican looking to make an overtake. It's Callaway actually on Carlos.
And that's Berliner's going very wide there.
Yeah, he's struggling, isn't he?
Yeah, and Callaway's coming through. I wonder whether these tyres are starting to really fall apart even on 15 laps here, but we'll find out a little bit more when we get there. We're not even halfway through yet. Here goes Callaway, though, inside top 10. And now he's got a bit of clean air, so now he can start to use some of this speed. But you know, if this is a legacy of people struggling on tyres, then what he's going to look like by the end of this race, goodness me.
That's true, isn't it? But if there is one driver that can handle worn tyres, well, we know Mr. Callaway could. Potentially. But we still don't know how the situation is going to pan out with the rest of that field essentially above him from P1 to P9. They all need to make a pit stop, and then of course some of those drivers behind him from the 11th down to this man are still yet to make a pit stop as well.
Yeah. It's about half and half at the moment. As far as, well, no, sorry, not half and half. Is it 1/3, 2/3 probably in the field? Probably over-egging it slightly. As Nicholas Isidro and Balinas get together again. It's unfortunate for Nicholas Isidro again, isn't it, that he's back here. His pace certainly sees him further up the field as he gets into the slipstream, into the outside, and straight through. Oh, not quite straight through.
Not yet.
Oh, wow, late on the brakes there. Look at that. Balinas not willing to give this up at all. These two, don't forget, are racing for position because they've not used their pit stop just yet. But Isidro's going to keep the button down. He does not let it go until he's properly through. And it was a good job he didn't take the push to pass off into the centre S, because he would have spent another lap, maybe two, stuck behind the Mexican there. But he just made absolutely sure of it down the Retta Reposta, and he is through.
Becomes the fastest man on the racetrack. Now sizing up Elliot Rolls in P number 4. He's been putting those banker laps down. Elliot Rolls' last lap was a 17.14, a 16.11 for this man. So a second a lap quicker. Now with the tow. Doesn't use the push to pass, if you notice it right now. He's in a cool down. Has to do it without any assistance.
Yeah, exactly. The old-fashioned way, as I keep saying. It's probably used quite a lot, as I mentioned before, to actually make passes earlier on in the day. So it's understandable that he's just laying off the button at the moment, and making sure that he's got some left for later. See if he's going to have a battle for a big position with a big driver, and he needs it. Inside line on Elliot Rolls. This is already one of those big overtakes to make, and he's still inside the first half of this race. It's a good effort, but it is not quite enough. Perez not able to get through on turn 4 there, but he's putting a lot of pressure on now.
Oh, that's a late send if you're going to try that one there, my friend, because remember, it's going to switch around to the inside line. We'll still have Elliot there. Going to sweep it around. This is going to be last of late breakers if you're going to sleeken up at the inside here and then hit the heavy braking zone. Tight, and then swings it all the way. You got to chuck it to the left immediately, down the hill, into the Junco, into the Casilla de Laga, it is called, and there's their driver getting completely out of the way at the moment.
He went wide there. Perez definitely went wide. I'm actually impressed he didn't go off the circuit completely. That's where I thought he was heading, but he's on the button. And this is a good use of it as well, don't forget. If you're using it to defend... Oh my word! That is so dangerous, but again, it's not real life, so who cares? In towards turn 1 again. Rolls not close enough. But I'm not sure in real life that is allowed for you to almost use the pit wall as a sort of way to block the driver and head it behind and hope that they crash into it. I'm not sure that's a strategy that would work in the real world, but that was aggressive weaving from Perez. He wants to keep this place badly, and he has done.
Yeah, he's breaking. They're snaking like they do in IndyCar as well too. Just trying to break the slipstream is why he almost looked like he was going into pit lane. There is that line, of course, that's there that indicates where your pit lane entrance is. But just about every driver in this race has cut that line on the exit out of the final turns to try to get a nice little run straight up into turn 1. That was definitely a heart and throat moment for both those drivers at the moment as well too. On top of that, so he is up 16 places. He got the job done, P4. Next up on his hit list, about just under 3 seconds, will be Fabian Sanchez from the United States of America.
Yeah. And I reckon he can get there as well, to be honest with you.
Looks like we've had from
the top two might be out of reach, but
Argentine is in the pit road. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. It's just a
spun on the way out.
Yes, he has.
Yep. I thought he might.
No damage.
Not the easiest pit exit here. Who's that, by the way, with only 3 wheels on and one of the rear wheels missing?
McAllister, I would say. I think McAllister's had a moment.
No, he's okay. Oh, he's spun. He's not crashed. Oh, this is his bobble over the bump there. It's an unusual bump.
was from-
It's either, I think, Bianchi or Austin Thomas. They've both been in the pit lane for nearly 20 minutes, and it happened right towards the back on the start because we didn't see it while we were following it. But somebody must have had a massive crash off the start of this race. We'll see whether we can decipher what it is from this. Bianchi gets a very good start.
Well, there it is.
Oh, no!
Oh!
Wow.
Somebody bogged down completely, wasn't it? Was it?
I guess it must be Thomas.
Thomas. I think it was Thomas. I think you're right. Oh, no, Thomas already lost that front wing before.
No, that's what I mean. So yeah, he bogged down off the start and then got ran over. So, here we go.
Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to... Right,
cameras are in the floor.
There. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. He just didn't get off to a great... So it's Thomas with 3 wheels on his wagon, although Bianchi hasn't got very many more. He's very damaged as well, and unfortunately they've both had a meatball and they're both still down on pit lane getting those repairs at the end of the day. Well, it's a big shame for Antonio Bianchi. He does a great job organising this series, by the way, for those who don't know. The League Zero Super Formula Series. And it's a great series to be a part of and well organised by him. Unfortunately, he's not been having the pleasure of racing in it tonight because he's completed about 2 laps before getting taken out in both now.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, isn't it, for the boss of this fantastic League Zero Formula Series League. As you're going to see the Aussie for the Inca Salsa Chips, number 25 machine. Try to get the OT on Mr. John up there. He's running in P10th. Both of these drivers yet to make their pit stop, mandatory pit stop as well too, Ewan.
Yes, still lots to go. And they're going past halfway as well, which is interesting. So Jaden Callaway will continue to work his way past those guys who haven't stopped yet, and luckily he's found a bit more clean air to do so. The track temperature's coming down as we've gone past the heat of the day, so it's down to 42 degrees Celsius. That's down nearly 3 degrees compared to when I last looked, only about 8 laps ago. So the cloud cover's really coming over now, partly cloudy. Don't think we're going to have a splash of rain towards the end here because it would have to get very overcast very quickly and then rain and make a difference in 11 laps, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. As McAllister gets again close to Stumbrat, he's recovered from that spin, he's got his tyres cooled down again, and he's looking for 10th again.
Carlos is just creeping in the background as well too, the Mexican driver, but I think he's been struggling here in Brazil. Going to go up to Max as he's putting a bit of pressure there on Elliot Rolls. These drivers have not made their pit stops as well. See, the fastest lap was set by Elliot Court before in P2, but he is, he's a second off Fitzsimmons, so that's good to see that battle between P1 and P2 are still there, with a 10-second gap back to Sanchez in P3.
Yeah, those two have dominated here. And as I mentioned, Perez is going to have a real go at Sanchez before this race is finished as well, with still 12 laps to go. So they come down the hill here now. Shabley trying to get past Elliot Rolls, who misses the apex as Fitzsimmons comes in from the lead. This is surely going to spark a load of drivers coming in, maybe even one of these two. Shabley wants to make the pass on the track though, because he's got the push to pass on.
Yeah,
is Rolls going to come in? I think he might well do. Yep. Yes, he does, and you might as well do. You might as well cut your losses there and come into pit lane. So Shabley wastes a couple of seconds of push to pass, may I say, and
look at this.
Maybe not, but he's through. And meantime, Perez is going to try and come through on Sanchez. He's not waiting around, and he's not waiting for the pit stops to do this. He wants to do it right now, and he does. Inside line, second place. For now, it will become third, but what a recovery this is from Perez.
Yeah, Willie coming to pit road right now, as he's doing that little weaving as well too. So not only is he doing the weaving to attack, he also uses the weaves to defend as much as possible. But we are expecting these drivers. He just set the fastest lap as well too on that last lap, a 15 point. First driver in the 15 club this evening. For absolutely blistering pace. You think at this pace at the moment, you just want to keep going, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, maybe.
Why go to the pit road if you're already setting fastest laps after fastest laps? That's just giving you a nice little chance of winning this race, because...
Oh, we missed... Sorry, Fitzsimmons has got a meatball. He's crashed on the exit of pit lane, I think.
Oh, no. You are correct. We'll see these drivers come in. Oh, again! Wow, sends a dummy. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's have a look at what happened to Fitzsimmons. Yeah, it's on the exit, isn't it? Now, as you go on to hit the loud pedal, that's there. Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness me. And there's no room for error there. Absolutely none. Oh, my word.
Oh, dear. So this is it here at the cockpit. Let's have a listen. Just a slight little acceleration, isn't it? And then that's unfortunate.
Yeah, looking back on that, you'll think, why was I risking the whole race for the sake of a few hundredths of a second there by getting on the power a bit earlier and whatever? But, you can't think like that in a race. You've got to try and absolutely maximise it, because he was in a proper race with Elliott Court, by the way. I know it looks like Court's got a very big lead at the moment, and I suppose he has now, but, it was a close race at that time, so you can absolutely understand why. It's easy to say, obviously, in hindsight, what I just said there, but, in the moment, it's absolutely easy to understand why he wanted to push there. Court's going to carry on again.
This will be interesting with Court. Now, you got to think about Perez, who's 12 seconds down the road now. Both these drivers have to make a pit stop. But if Perez still continues to take some of that time out at the moment, well, they're pretty much even Stevens on that last lap. Sanchez is in from P3. But if Perez if they start exchanging fastest laps between each other, it's not going to be enough. But if Perez can start slicing and dicing, it's 8 laps to go, 9 laps to go, isn't it? If he can eat in about a second a lap, he may get up to him. But that's a lot of time to try to make up. Sanchez, Meyer, and Callaway all in pit road. Now let's see about the pit exit. That seems to be the key this evening, my friend.
Now, how easy does he take it as well? Do you think it's something that these guys have practiced? Talk all the time about pit entry being something that, as Callaway comes in for a second time, I'm not surprised he has done. Talk about pit entry not being practiced as much as it perhaps should, but actually pit exit is something that every time you leave the circuit, you end up practicing. Admittedly, you don't do it in the middle of a race all the time, but you do end up practicing it every time. As Rawls has a look down the inside of Sanchez, another driver gets past Fabian Sanchez, and admittedly, he was given pole position off the start here by the reverse grid, but nevertheless, he has been overtaken quite regularly in the last few moments.
As both the P1, P2 are in as well too. So Court and Perez are in pit road. Max still currently will inherit the lead, but for how long he has to make a pit stop. This could potentially once again be the battle of the lead of this race. Depends on where those other drivers can come out. Court's coming out now. Hopefully, Shirley would have got that memo on that one to be very, very careful. Will he come out ahead of Rolls? There's Rolls now, so way, way, way ahead. They're not even down in the center S's. But Sanchez is going to put some pressure on too, as you said, because of the overtake. So Perez comes back out P3, which essentially it's going to be a P2. Court should have the lead of this race. Will he have the win? Got the gap. There he is, 10 seconds down the road from the crowd favourite of Gonzalo Perez.
I mean, he can lose a second a lap and still win by 2 seconds. That is the situation that Elliott Court's in at the moment. And so, he'll be looking comfortable here. And he'll be confident now as Jaden Callaway looks down the inside of Robert Nobles. Again, these are drivers he should be passing, really, but the 12 seconds ahead might be the problem for him breaching the top 5. It's just a case of where Max Shabley's going to come out. And Callaway's not made this overtake yet either. Nobles is not going to make this easy because we're at a point in the race now where it's a reachable distance for him to feasibly defend from now to the finish. It won't be easy. Not saying it will be easy, but it's a feasible distance for him. Oh, and there's a mistake. You see, he's putting the pressure on Callaway. As soon as you keep him behind, after 1 attempt or 2, you start putting the pressure on, and who knows what can happen.
Well, that's a little bit of sliding as well, too, as you can see. As he's trying to get the power, but it's downhill, so the car feels a lot lighter. Now that downforce will start pushing that car into the tarmac as heavy as possible, but of course he's going to use that overtake button as well too now. There it is. That's your overtaking spot.
Wow, he's got it all.
Defensive goes Sanchez on the inside, so it doesn't stick to the racing line. That should maximise the entrance and exit there for Callaway up in a P6.
I'm pretty sure I saw over 3 minutes left for Callaway there. I'm not going to be able to see it again until he puts the button on again, but I'm pretty sure that was almost the first time he's used it this race.
Wow.
It's extraordinary for Callaway. I guess he's been on his own a lot, and when you're on your own, actually, you almost, well, I do anyway, I sort of forget about it until I'm around other people again, and you realise, oh yeah, this would be good to use, and it looks like Callaway might have had that as well. So Shabley is out in third, not anywhere near as close to Callaway as he was hoping, but Chablis is only just in front of Rolls and Sanchez, who will fancy taking that podium off him. That's going to be our race in the last 7 laps. It's going to be Chablis, Rolls or Sanchez to take a podium in the first round of the new season.
Absolutely right. Look at this. He's using his push to pass now as a defensive weapon, which is what I love about that we all do. But he's running out. He is running out. You can just see there. Not too much time left. You're going to know whether or not Elliott Rolls and Sanchez, how much have they got to attack here with the remaining 7 laps of this race?
And, it's the case now as well for Chablis. You mentioned he's got not very much push to pass left, but what do you do in this situation? Do you burn the last of it up to keep Rolls away from being a second behind and therefore getting more of a slipstream and closing on you that way? Or do you keep the push to pass back so that when Rolls catches you, accepting that Rolls is going to catch you at some point, when he catches you, you've got something to fight with? It's the classic dilemma, really, as to whether you want to keep him at arm's length or invite him into the fight and hope you can beat him in a straight fight in the final 5 laps or so.
That's a very good question. How's your Spanish out there in the chat? I do believe as well, too, maybe a new feature that's on the YouTube channel, and give us a thumbs up out there, this is correct, but I believe that there's also a auto translation. So you and me right now, if they push some buttons, may very much be speaking in Spanish, Espanol, to the fans out there. I believe I saw something like that on the YouTube that popped up before that I was scheduling for this race broadcast, the Ewan. Yeah, you might be in Ewan in Spanish. Interesting.
Or is that...
not just the translation. I think dubbing features now.
No way.
Wow. We'll have to look at that later on, my friend.
Ewan
in Spanish. It's going to be sit there. All right.
I mean, if anybody's watching... I know, yeah. if anybody's watching this and it does not understand what we're saying, yet is watching the pictures instead, they're absolutely crazy, in my opinion. But anyway, whenever I'm watching a foreign language stream, which I sometimes do, I do stick the English subtitles on. Or if it's French, I stick the French subtitles on.
Well, I do anyway, yeah. Sometimes because
it's
quiet in scenes where you can't quite hear them because they're whispering.
Yes. It's
and hopefully we're not whispering out there. Everybody can hear us as clear as crystal. For the battle for P3, as you can see on your pictures. That gap is still hovering around 12 seconds between P1 and P2. I think Court has it covered, as you said. He could just nurse it a little bit, wouldn't have to risk it for the biscuit too much. They're doing flat 16, so he did last lap flat 16, so that's a good lap time. That's not just easing it off, my friend, on a Sunday drive. That's still putting the pressure down.
Yep, it is. We've lost somebody there further down. I think Ricardo Espino has,
yes, he has
retired, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a real shame. So from 16th place, Espino has retired. Mayorga will get past him. Fitzsimmons, Thomas and Bianchi are staying in as if they're trying to return, but they're not going to, I wouldn't imagine. I mean, Thomas and Bianchi still haven't shifted the meatball flag. And, I do admire something about this league, actually, that there is no fast repair. I do find that, overused sometimes, and it almost incentivises... It doesn't incentivise crashing, but it doesn't decentivise it too much as I'd like anyway. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about a start line incident like what Austin Thomas and Antonio Bianchi had. Those kind of things are very, very difficult to get around, and so that puts an incentive to series, I suppose, to put a fast repair in to save people from that. But it's harsh, this series. You don't get points just for turning up. You have to properly fight for the points. People score 0 points after finishing races in this series, and also they don't get fast repairs for damage as well. It's properly punishing as well if you're just below what you need to be. And, I do admire that about this series, I must admit.
I'd be interested to see something like, I don't know if anybody's ever done it before, but you've got a fast repair, let's say, up your sleeve, but if you do use it, then it's a deduction of points in your championship. So it's going to cost you points if you do use it. It's there available, but obviously if you haven't had to use it during the race, then you maximise your regular points that you finish the race with. If you do happen to use it, it comes at a cost of points. So I guess that's a bit of two ways at that one. So I wouldn't encourage anybody, of course, to happen to use it. If they could avoid using it, they would, because it'll cost you too much in points. But then again, if your car's completely damaged and you need to use it, obviously you would, so that you can get some points in the race.
It's true. It It would help those who are not interested in the championship get back in the race, I suppose, and it would also make sure it doesn't affect the championship too much either. It's not a bad idea. Although I'm not entirely I know that some timing software I've used in the past allows you to see that data. I don't know if you can see that data after the race, and indeed if that's just ended up being more work for Antonio Bianchi to figure out at the end of the day.
Well, up to the drivers, of course. I mean, how many of those drivers would be using it, of course, too? So it's only a matter of reviewing like 5 or 6 cars at the end of the race to go, hang on, what's your pit stop time? Oh, there it is. So, yeah. Anyway,
and
that's
also,
one for
you end up with
the boss. Go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. A bit of a suggestion. Also, you get into arguments about if someone accidentally used it, because sometimes if it's available, you forget to uncheck it, that's
a bad problem. Overtake. Look at this.
Yeah, well,
plenty
exactly.
of it.
Into the third last lap here for Elliott Rolls. Yeah, he is on the button again, and Sabley is running out. So not only has he not kept anything back, he's not kept him at arm's length either. He's done neither. There's the light. It's gone out. The light's gone out above his head. He's got the last 3 laps here to defend with nothing, and Rolls is going to switch it to the outside line. Outside through Ferradura. It's a very long way round here. Oh, and he breaks early. Chablis will keep the place for now, but he's got a mighty job on his hands to defend with no push to pass remaining.
But now, the final bit of push to pass. That Rolls is still on at the moment. You can see 58 seconds, 57 seconds remaining on this one, with 3 laps remaining in this race. He has to attack now. He had also done. He's got to be aware too that Sanchez is behind him, and we don't know if Sanchez. How much has he got? Is he using it? Well, we kind of know up here in the booth, but the drivers don't know. Sanchez, let's see if he happens to use any of that push to pass at the moment. Well, you can't see, but we'll have to see about Elliott Rolls and his final push to pass.
Yeah, he's emptying this, isn't he? With the last 2 laps on the horizon. Here he goes. He's not even in the last 10 seconds yet. He should run out just after turn 4 on the way to Ferradura. He might well go through before then. Outside into the first part of the centre S here. He's on the inside for the second part. Very close. Around the outside there for Chablis. And he gets back in front again here. Rolls will get the better exit there, and there he is. Final seconds remaining. He's got to do it. It's almost now or never. And he's got the big advantage on the straight. There's a bit of contact, was there? Rolls outside. He squeezes Chablis, who breaks late again at turn 4, and he goes off. Oh, is he going off? Throws into the barrier. That is such a shame for Elliott Rolls, who is out of this race at Interlagos tonight. Oh my goodness me, late drama in this battle for 3rd place. Chablis didn't do anything wrong, although he did go off the circuit to retain his place. Rolls made his own error with that extra power on the push to pass, too heavy on the right foot, and he goes off, and Chablis still under pressure, this time from Fabian Sanchez.
Sanchez could go around the outside at the moment as they go dipping down into the hill.
Oh.
Still
doesn't go for it.
Defending. Max, what a defensive drive he's had to do here for the dying stage of this race. We don't think Sanchez has anything left. I don't see anything. You would have used your push to pass right now if it was available, especially on the back stretch going into turn 1, turn 2 on the S's. Nothing there. Now it's just manual. Last lap of the race there. Elliott caught in the lead.
He's not using it though, Sanchez. Why not?
I don't think
this
he's got any.
This is his last run towards turn 1 and last run towards turn 4. He's still not on the button here, right when it could be. And
there
now
he
he's going to. That's maybe why. He didn't have too much left. But, you know, he's using it a bit late here for my money. On the outside of turn 4, Chablis been very strong on the brakes here. But Sanchez might be stronger. Outside line. Oh, he's been squeezed off there. He's been squeezed off. Chablis firm in his defence, but that starts to get towards the line of shoving someone off the circuit, and that might well be argued about at the end of the race.
Well, nothing to argue about this. Elliott Court's performance. Getting the job done, 3 positions gained, and this is the final couple of corners for him to win the first round here in Brazil.
Elliott Court wins the feature race of the Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil. It's a victory for Elliott Court, a personal best over the line, because this man's going to get the fastest lap. He's going to maybe set another one at the end here, although he's run out of push to pass towards the line. He might well not do. 12 seconds off the win, but what a great recovery. Up 18 places, Gonzalo Perez from last into second. Chablis will keep third. Sanchez runs out of push to pass towards the end. He started from pole, but does a good job to just miss out on the podium. And Callaway does a decent job as well. After early trouble, he finishes in the top 5, despite making one extra stop, don't forget.
That's actually correct as well too, wasn't it? That's the second stop. As there's Nobles for the Mustard Seed Racing entrance. Jace Meyer is going to come across. I thought Callaway was setting the fastest first sector too on one of those laps before, but he didn't steal away the fastest lap. Sajay comes home there.
He'd have the best first sector, you are correct. Yeah.
3 drivers as well too. So McAllister will eventually bring it home as well too. He'll be up 8 places from where he started this race. He's also another driver that had a few little incidents, a couple of spins. James and John will wrap up your finishes that were on the lead lap. Just quickly, I wanted to go back for the Elliott
13.
rolls before we get to our results, just to have a look at this one with the chopper cam.
I mean, Chablis does go off the track to retain a position, arguably, but Rolls would have made this mistake anyway.
Yeah.
If you just spin on the circuit or not, that's heartbreaking, isn't it? Again, it's what I mentioned about the punishing nature of this series and this car in a way, the Super Formula. It absolutely punishes the smallest of mistakes. And it's such a shame that Elliott Rolls went nearly to a podium, back down to 15th in 2 laps down. What a shame for him. Elliott Court, though, wins the race. An all-British winning lineup here tonight, might I add. I think. Is that even true? Maybe that's not true. Did Fitzsimmons win the first race or not? No, Callaway won the first race. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, and it's not even true. The Americans won one, the British won one as well, so there you go. Cook wins this one, though, ahead of Gonzalo Perez, who's certainly driver of the race, there's no doubt about that. 18 places gained up to second. Max Chablis holds on brilliantly for the podium in the end of Fabian Sanchez, with Jaden Callaway getting back to 5th despite those 2 stops, which is a decent points haul for him. He might have the most of anybody, although Elliott Court is going to run him close for that. In fact, no, Court is going to have more. Robert Nobles will finish 6th ahead of Jace Meyer. Sazi Duhed, Guillermo Paré and Nicholas Isidro round up the top 10. Gareth McAllister, James Turnbull, John Stumbrough were on the lead lap. Carlos Braninas was 1 down, Rolls 2 down after that late trouble. Mayorga 3 down, although he did get to the finish, by the way, after earlier delays. Espino did not cross the finish line, neither did Fitzsimmons, Thomas or Bianchi. The last of 2 crashed pretty much immediately, unfortunately, in that race. Well, what a fantastic way to start the season, Biggles, at Interlagos. The Meatball Flag Designs Grand Prix of Brazil, plural, certainly did deliver for us here tonight. Some great runs through the field from the likes of Perez, some great wins from Court and Callaway, and it set us up wonderfully for a new season.
And it'll definitely throw Court onto the top of the championship standings after this round, because of course finishing second and then with the race win after that. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Good to see that early pace from Pierre Perez. Now, we haven't seen that driver this season yet, but he's going to be one to look out for. What a drive, of course, with Max to defend off some late attacks in that race, in the feature race as well too there. Ewan, so not quite sure if we do get a little bit of a chin wagging from any of the drivers, but if not, of course, we will once again go over and mention where we are heading over next round.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway is our venue next week. Same amount of laps for our sprint race, a little bit longer of a feature race at 32 laps for us on the road course there, presuming that's the modern day road course with the faster chicane to begin with onto the back straight, and no hairpins anymore on the chicane, and indeed the final chicane as well, to prevent us going round the oval, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion, but anyway, it is the way that it is. And that will be our next race, not currently sponsored by the way, so I think you can get in contact with Antonio and still sponsor the race, but there you go. On the right hand side you can see we've got proper race names this season, which we'll try and follow a little bit more closely and give those to you. So big thanks to everyone who's sponsored a race at some point this season, and a big thanks therefore to Anthony Zeitz this season and indeed this race for doing just that. A late shout out, by the way, to AJ Brenner, who unfortunately fell asleep and missed this race. So hopefully we'll see him next time out as well. I'm sure there's many other drivers who are either watching tonight or indeed watching it back who will be appearing later on this season as well. Don't forget, last season we had nearly 50 drivers score points at some stage. It will be absolutely madness to get them all on the track together. Maybe it's for the better that we haven't had that yet. But a great field tonight of really competitive drivers once again, setting up another wonderful season in the League Zero Super Formula Championship, another season in this long-running championship. So a big thanks to everyone for tuning in to this opening round. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Dean Biggles. Until we see you again at Indianapolis next week, it's goodbye from Interlagos from this opening round of League Zero Super Formula, and we'll see you in 1 week's time over in the US. Goodbye for now.